He bought a vintage arcade cabinet. A dilapidated arcade cabinet is acquired by a collector. Its seemingly worthless exterior belying an extraordinary discovery within. The true value is revealed to be far beyond mere gaming nostalgia, presenting an unexpected and captivating narrative. Ethan wasn't a gambler. He was a preservationist. His passion was saving the forgotten consoles and cabinets of the 1980s from landfills. His latest lead was a local online listing. Broken 80s game cabinet, $100 OBO. Must haul. The accompanying photo was poor, showing a generic, battered wooden box with peeling decals and a shattered marquee. Initial skepticism was high about its playability or true worth. It looked like total junk. The pickup day was brutal. The cabinet was located in the damp, moldy basement of a condemned apartment building. A difficult, dirty, and physically challenging process. The cabinet was heavier than any standard model. Its frame seemingly reinforced with concrete. Ethan and his friends struggled, emphasizing the terrible condition. The vinyl peeling off in strips, the control panel covered in grime and cigarette burns, the monitor glass opaque with dirt. The pickup, showing the difficult, dirty, and physically challenging process of loading the heavy, broken cabinet into a truck. Emphasize its terrible condition. First impressions, a quick walk around of the cabinet, highlighting its visible damage, grime, and missing parts. Is this even worth it? Back in his workshop, Ethan performed a quick walk around. The marquee was shattered, the side art was peeling, and the coin mechanisms were rusted solid. The unique weight suggested internal modifications. Why would someone reinforce a generic cabinet? He found the first anomaly on the back access panel. A series of non-standard, military-grade security screws, far beyond what any arcade operator would use. This wasn't a standard game. This was a disguised unit. He spent hours meticulously drilling out the hardened screws. When the back panel came off, the interior was not the expected tangled mess of spaghetti wiring and transformers. It was a perfectly organized lead line compartment. The game board itself was sealed inside a custom shock-mounted steel case, surrounded by dense foam insulation. This level of protection was unwarranted for a simple $100 game. Ethan had found a piece of Cold War engineering hidden inside a relic of pop culture. The cabinet's unique weight was due to the internal shielding. The circuit board inside the steel case was not a familiar Pac-Man or Donkey Kong PCB. It was a highly specialized, proprietary processing unit covered in non-standard gold-plated chips and dense, black potting material, a clear sign of classified technology. The true value was already far beyond nostalgia. The forgotten relic was a vault. Stop right there. Ethan just found a highly classified lead-line processing unit inside this junked arcade cabinet. The true story behind this relic is immense. You won't believe what's on this board. Hit that subscribe button now and give this video a like. We need your help to decipher this Cold War technology. Comment below. What secret government project do you think this machine was part of? Let's crack the code. Ethan realized his $100 purchase was a national security hazard. He carefully removed the sealed steel case containing the unique circuit board. The potting material made reverse engineering impossible, but the board had a single accessible component, a non-standard serial port hidden beneath a sticker advertising high score. He connected the port to a shielded vintage computer. The system refused connection, displaying a cryptic error message. Initiate sequence. TARGT. It was a system lock requiring a precise, unique input sequence. Ethan examined the control panel, the classic 8-way joystick and the 3 action buttons, usually labeled A, B, and C. The key had to be in the interface itself. He focused on the title sticker that was peeling off the marquee. It wasn't a recognizable game title, but a single, ambiguous word, Vector. Ethan cross-referenced the word with 1980s military jargon and arcade history. He found a forgotten, short-lived arcade game from 1983 called Target Vector, a highly technical vector graphics simulation game used briefly in military training facilities. The joystick and buttons were the key. Ethan realized the security lock used the game's original sequence of inputs. TRGT was a mnemonic for the physical inputs. He mapped the sequence to the joystick and buttons: top up, action button 1, right, go button 2, exit down, top up. He executed the sequence on the beat-up joystick. The old vintage computer screen flashed violently, and the PCB unlocked. The system didn't boot a game. It revealed a massive, encrypted data file and a single, chilling text log. The log belonged to Dr. Elias Vance, a name now familiar to Ethan from obscure intelligence leaks, a brilliant MIT cryptographer who vanished in 1989. Vance's log detailed his final mission. He had engineered a self-contained, fully shielded, portable cryptographic engine designed to process and secure highly sensitive intelligence during an operation known as Project Nightingale. The cabinet wasn't a game. It was the Nightingale cryptographic engine. Vance had hidden the engine inside the arcade cabinet, the perfect camouflage, and used the game's controls as the security key. The final log entry confirmed the stakes. The encrypted file contained the location of a sleeper agent network, evidence of a massive Soviet penetration of U.S. financial systems in the late 1980s. The true value of the cabinet was the exposure of a decades-old espionage ring. The discovery of a Nightingale cryptographic engine transformed Ethan's workshop into an unofficial federal evidence lab. He immediately contacted his local FBI contact, who quickly brought in specialized agents from the Counterintelligence Division. The FBI confirmed the identity of Dr. Elias Vance and the critical importance of Project Nightingale, a cold case centered on exposing a high-level Soviet spy network. The central challenge was the encrypted data file. The encryption was proprietary, quantum-resistant, and designed to auto-corrupt if accessed improperly. The file contained the full list of sleeper agents who infiltrated the burgeoning digital economy during the late 80s and early 90s, posing a massive threat to current financial stability. The data was a digital time bomb. The FBI's massive supercomputers failed to crack the code. Ethan, the vintage restorer, realized the solution lay not in raw processing power, but in the analog nature of the cabinet itself. Vance's log mentioned the monitor's refresh rate and the joystick's magnetic signature as secondary biometric inputs for decryption. Ethan and the agents returned the PCB to the arcade cabinet. The decryption sequence was layered. The joystick's magnetic signature verified the machine's identity, and the specific 60 Hz refresh rate of the vintage CRT monitor had to be read by the PCB at the moment of decryption. This was genius. The decryption was tied to the physical analog components of the target vector system. After days of calibration, they executed the process. The vintage monitor flickered wildly, the PCB hummed, and the massive file unlocked. The decryption revealed the full list of names, code words, and financial documents, the complete roster of the financial falcons, the spy network embedded across Wall Street. The total estimated value of the financial assets compromised by the network over the decades was in the tens of billions. The data provided irrefutable evidence, allowing the FBI to immediately begin arresting key suspects. Ethan had not only solved a cold case, but had prevented a potential catastrophe in the modern financial markets. The true value of the forgotten relic was national security. The recovery of the Nightingale data led to one of the largest counterintelligence operations since the Cold War. Ethan, the unassuming restorer, was hailed as a national hero. The arcade cabinet, the Nightingale cryptographic engine, was carefully seized by the U.S. government as a classified historical artifact. It was later accessioned into the National Cryptologic Museum, displayed with full honors, telling the story of Dr. Vance's sacrifice. The compensation was vast, because the data recovered exposed a massive financial espionage network, the Financial Falcons, and secured billions in compromised assets. Ethan was eligible for a massive finder's fee under specialized counter-espionage laws. The final reward package, consolidated from the U.S. Treasury, the FBI, and a special congressional appropriation, totaled an incredible $55 million. The $100 cabinet had yielded a generational fortune. Ethan used the funds not to retire, but to expand his passion. He bought the entire defunct apartment building, transformed it into a massive, state-of-the-art vintage computing museum and restoration institute. He secured the legacy of his craft, ensuring that the forgotten technology of the past would always be preserved for the future. He kept one small memento, the original cracked marquee glass mounted on his desk, a reminder that the greatest secrets are often hidden in plain sight, behind the mask of junk. The story of the forgotten relic proves that the true value of history is not measured in dollars, but in the secrets it preserves and the truth it reveals. For Ethan, the collector, the find was a life-changing windfall, but the ultimate prize was securing the forgotten legacy of a national hero. If you want to uncover more stories of unimaginable historical finds, make sure you hit that subscribe button now and join us for the next great excavation.